So, Jack, lovely meeting you again. It's been a while. Quickly let the audience know like who you are, what you do, how we met, and actually where we met. We met in London the first time, right?
Yeah,
And
sure. So, I'm the motion director at OK Social. So we're a creative animation studio. At the moment, we kind of niche down into kind of the health and wellness sector, with thanks to Marco as well. We first met, I believe, in London, where we kind of discussed where we wanted to go, where I was at now, and the kind of steps to help me get there.
what was the reason you wanted to connect with me, work with me?
Sure. So I guess it was the kind of uncertainty of kind of the jobs that we would get in, the kind of direction of the studio as well, and the kind of the overall kind of fear of not getting clients, not getting the right clients,
Hmm.
that kind of thing.
And so we worked together over 6 sessions. So where are you now? It's like what changed from late last year to now?
Yeah, definitely the kind of outlook on things. I think I was very much stuck in the kind of creative headspace of build it and they will come.
Yeah.
So like, just thinking good work was enough just to have clients knocking on the door, which, it kind of never is. So it's doing all the back end things, the positioning, the kind of looking at the marketing side, what we actually offer, trying to focus on the value rather than the services a little bit more, and just trying to get a better understanding of how people perceive us and what we do.
That's so funny because the way I got to know you, you're good at sales. You're natural.
Mm.
I wouldn't have expected you say that. Like that you say like the perspective that you were focused on the other things. It's like it shows to me or tells me that even though you're good at sales, you still have this belief. You had this belief.
Yeah. And I think it's a belief actually that's very common
Oh yeah.
in the kind of creative industry,
Yes.
like more so than I knew as well, especially at the start. I think it's a problem that a lot of people struggle with really, and it's kind of getting that the kind of marketing communication side of things is on one side of the table, and then the kind of creative makers
Mm.
on the other, and they're very often not the same sort of person. So I think that that can that can make a really strong sort of creative as well. I think if you understand the that side of things as well a little bit more around what they perceive as value, not what we perceive as value.
What the client perceives as valuable. Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like often we'll talk about like the technical speak and the design, the eye for detail, all that sort of stuff, and then maybe kind of lose touch a little bit of the actual
Huh?
message, the problem it's solving, and the kind of
Look at the sales calls, right?
yeah.
This is what we're talking about now. So sales calls like 3 4 months ago and now. But what changed here?
Asking a lot more questions to start with,
Hmm.
doing a lot less talking. I feel like as an overall kind of rule of thumb, that's something that's definitely changed a lot. Letting them do the talking, telling me the problem, where they're at, where they want to be, versus kind of having to kind of sell yourself and things like that. So I feel a lot less kind of pressure to kind of tell them why we're so good, and why they should work with us and that kind of thing, and let them tell me their issues, and then take that on board and kind of respond to them, and sort of give them advice and
Hmm.
kind of direction rather than actually selling services.
How does it make you feel? Like that you don't have the pressure anymore, that you don't have to sell yourself, really?
I mean, it makes those calls a lot more enjoyable because it's
Mm.
not like a sales call really. It's like it's more of a call. I'm like, okay, can we actually help them? Do we want to work with them? This kind of stuff, rather than like, oh, I've got to perform and make a good show and that kind of thing. So it definitely puts the pressure off, I feel.
Awesome. And one more thing I want to tap into is positioning. I know that you did something after you continued the positioning journey and changed some things even after our work together.
Yeah,
So just talk a little about that.
yeah. So obviously, it's something you kind of speak about niching down and finding your sector to kind of go in. I guess like one of the kind of false perceptions I had, I guess, the same with a lot of people in the kind of creative industry. I think that if they, I guess the worry is if they niche down, they're gonna scare off sort of all these other clients, and it's gonna then they're going to be fishing in a smaller pond, so that makes it
Mm.
harder. All of these sorts of things, which I kind of think is maybe just reason to like put it off doing it. I think that the since we've actually repositioned and sort of focused on the health space and that kind of thing, is that we've still had past clients get back in touch and are still working with them, and still had other clients actually reach out who are in completely different sectors like engineering and things like
Mm.
that. I think one of them actually said on a call was like, what did they say? They were like, "Oh, yeah, we do engineering. I know you guys sort of focus on healthcare, but it's basically the same." So they're like, all right. So they're kind of just they sell it to themselves.
Yeah, I love this. It's basically the same, and that's a perfect quote right there, because people, they understand the value for not for someone else. They
Yeah,
put themselves into the shoe, and it's like,
yeah,
because you're much more precise now with what you can deliver, with what you do. And the beauty is now they sold it, right? They, when they come with that understanding, they are already sold.
yeah. And I guess to your point as well, is what, you don't have to niche down for like forever. You can do that. Once you to kind of build up a good like database of clients. I also think from niching down, what also really helps is just like manage things yourself. When you're trying to work with everyone, it's really hard to like talk to those people, pinpoint those people, all these sort of things. I think by having a sort of narrower funnel, I guess, is that you can kind of, it's an easier way to get into that world. When you talk to these people, it's like an easier in. You're in their world. You understand what they do. But I think that those skills are kind of also transferable. So like when you talk to people in other sectors, you can use those same tactics that you do when you niche down,
Mm-hmm.
kind of apply to those things as well. So I think it makes it a lot easier. And I think there's definitely a lot other companies that have kind of done this in the past, where they kind of niche down just by coincidence, as in they just get lots of
Mm.
engineering work, and then they get good at doing that, and then it kind of falls into the other sectors as well. So I think like it's it's definitely helped me a lot more than I thought it would. And when you kind of initially suggest the idea of like, oh, niche down, pick a kind of sector, all these kind of things.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, definitely the kind of value that I've got from that afterwards is a lot more than I kind of initially thought. So
Oh, that's interesting.
a lot of things that I didn't kind of anticipate.
Uh-huh.
I got the idea that if you niche down into like medical, you kind of attract more medical clients, or if you niche down into pharmaceutical, or whatever sector that you'll naturally attract. But then it's all these other things that I kind of didn't anticipate,
Like,
like being able to sort of speak their language, being able to position yourself, offer value, like understand what they're looking for, what they want, solve their problems, things that you can actually kind of transfer really, and don't necessarily
can,
from industry to industry.
it's easy, right? Now positioning is like,
Yeah, you kind of understand it a little bit more, and I think it's like, okay, that just by doing these odd things, it really helps you change your direction. And I think initially, when we're like, oh, we just create animations, we work for everyone,
mm,
it kind of really lowers the kind of value, versus when you talk to like their industry, what you've done in their thing,
yeah.
kind of similar problems you've solved, all of those kind of things, I think speaks a lot more to them, and it's a lot more valuable than an animation or a service, or something like that.
So now
Yeah,
that engineering is like healthcare, you could actually go into that too.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think that kind of also kind of opens the door to, like, once you've got a good sort of baseline of clients, you can sort of open the door to different ones. You can build up different sectors, and I feel like once you've got that understanding, you can kind of then
Mhm.
potentially kind of lose the niche, and then you've still got
Awesome.
all of those skill sets.
What's your future plans?
Future plans, I guess, continue to grow, expand the team, work on sort of bigger projects, more interesting projects, ones that we actually really want to work on. Be a little
Mhm.
bit more picky, I guess, with the jobs that we choose, and which is
Nice.
always nice. Can potentially like turn down the ones that we don't like, or we think we're not going to enjoy. And then yeah, really kind of continue to learn around the kind of positioning side of things, because I think it is quite a long journey. You know, it's something that I think I'm going to be continuing to kind of work on and grow um, over the time.
When you niche down, it's not just attracting. It's easier to find clients, but there's all those things, right?
It just makes those things that when you've got like so many people, you know, and you haven't got like a purpose to like even reach out or talk or, you know, offer any kind of stature rather than just, you know, we create animations. It's just so like so vague. So I think by, you know, niching down, it then kind of forces you to be in that position to be like, okay, you know, we create animations for health and medical, you know, you're health and medical, let's go from there. That starts the ball rolling a little bit more. And then it allows you to focus on how you talk to your clients and how you communicate and how
Mm.
you network and broadcast and things like that. And I think that all came from niching down, because it's like I tried before to not niche down but also change my messaging and then reach out to people, and it didn't really work. It's like when you're trying to put your messaging together
Oh.
and trying to.
So you changed the messaging, but you didn't change the positioning on the website?
Yeah, and then it kind of feels hollow because it's like the foundations aren't there, so
Yeah.
that it's not, even if you do craft a good value proposition or a good offer, it's not really standing on anything,
Oh,
and then yeah,
awesome. So it's like the fun. You now you.
kind of see it as the foundation a little
Mm,
bit of like what we do, and then moving forward, when I'm sort of thinking about you know creating more sort of videos or any sort of marketing materials, it's like now I kind of know the audience, we've got a positioning, we've got a direction
mm,
that can come across in all those things. It definitely just seems to like cascade down from when we kind of went, okay, I'll shift into this. Everything else kind of slots into place a little bit easier, I
mhm.
feel.
It's easier to reach out, as you said. It's easier to. It's just you have a focus now, right? And people
Yeah,
actually they perceive you differently because you kind of you claimed that stake, right? You said this is who I am. This is who I want
yeah,
to work for. You're being taken as more seriously now. They
yeah.
give you the benefit of the doubt now because you said I'm for you here. Yeah,
And
awesome.
before, like, when everyone was a potential client, you know if you're like, right, today I'm going to be focusing on healthcare, then somebody like, engineering client gets in touch and you're like, oh, maybe I should move this way, and then you kind of
Mm,
end up shifting around, your messaging isn't clear, all of these sort of things. I think by sort of sticking to your lane, it makes it a lot easier to be like, right, no, we're just focusing on this, because it can be daunting, I think, having
yeah.
everyone as a potential client.
So in terms of creativity, how did that change the work? Like, are you doing the same thing all the time now?
No, like it's still a variety of work. I feel like we've still got clients who are coming to us who just find us
Mm,
through different channels, and they get in touch. Past clients, and then even I think within whatever niche you're in, there's still quite a range. I guess it depends on how specific your niche is, but generally speaking, within the niche of like healthcare, for example,
yeah,
there's loads of different things we still do, like explainer videos and social posts and demos and webinars, and there's still such a mix of work, so it doesn't feel dry or too
awesome.
repetitive.
So things now. Good. Awesome.